Hi, I'm Finn, and this is Paint Every Day. Today I'm going to be showing you how to craft some creepy alien plants from some rocks I found on the beach. First, to wash off any salt water or sand that might be on these rocks, I scrubbed and rinsed them with soap and an old toothbrush. Next, I soaked them in some bleach and water to remove any bacteria. After that, I soaked the rocks in water to get rid of the bleach. Then I let them dry overnight. For the bases, I just decided to go with some cardboard. Next, I attached the rocks with some hot glue. I also bridged some of the gaps between the rock and the base with some more hot glue. Now it's time to add some ground textures. I did this by gluing some sand to the bases with some PVA glue. Nothing too fancy. I wanted the main attraction of this terrain to be the rocks. Looks like some broken pieces of barnacles fell into my sand. Maybe I can use these as some ground cover in later builds. Next, I'm going to make some vines or tentacles, or whatever they are, from some long, thin strips of hot glue. Alright, once those were dry, I peeled them off and started gluing them onto the rocks. I tried to connect them between the barnacles and the ground to make it look like a web or root structure. I was originally using super glue for this, but it was taking too long to dry, so I eventually switched over to some hot glue. Now I'm sealing all this in with the classic Mod Podge and black paint mixture. This is especially important because these barnacles can be pretty fragile. After those had dried, which took a surprisingly long amount of time, I was ready to start painting. I base coated everything but the ground with a dark gray. Now a brown for the ground. I wanted these rocks to have a bit more color, so I added a heavily watered down blue paint to them. I noticed that there was still some white showing on the inside of the barnacles, so I filled them in with some dark brownish paint. Now I'm applying a homemade black wash to try to darken the small recesses on these rocks. One of the only problems with using these kind of rocks is that they don't have too much texture, so I'm hoping this will help. Now I'm also using this same wash on the ground. Alright, that seemed to work okay. This will be good enough for this build. Now I'm dry brushing with a lighter gray. Because these rocks don't have too much texture, I was almost stippling in some of the smoother areas. It actually worked pretty well. I will remember this trick for future builds. And I'm following that up with an even lighter gray. And finally, a little bit of white. I'm also hitting the ground very lightly with this color. Now it's time for the longest and most tedious part of this build, picking out all those barnacles and tentacles we had on from before. I was really inspired by Stranger Things for this paint job, so I decided to do a dark brown / maroon color. Now I'm covering the whole thing in Army Painter Strong Tone. Normally I wouldn't use miniature paint washes for terrain, but I was too lazy to make up my own batch of brown wash, so I just decided to go with this. I also made sure to cover any white spots I missed inside the barnacles with some more of this wash. Now I'm dry brushing on a slightly lighter maroon. Now an even lighter one. Finally, I'm doing an almost pink color. To finish these pieces off, and to make them look more gross and slimy, I'm putting on some glistening blood effect from Army Painter. It goes on kind of pinkish, purplish, but it dries as a nice blood red. Alright, there it is. That's the finished product. I'm really happy how it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed my first terrain video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I also encourage you to be inspired by the world around you when painting or crafting miniatures in terrain. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you next time, and remember, paint every day.